Early stoppage or not, I do not care whatsoever. El Kukui, Tony Ferguson, has just got the win over Salt Pappy via third round TKO, ending the 8 fight losing streak. I don't care. People say, oh, it's in a different sport, it's in boxing, not MMA. I don't care. El Kukui has won, finally. It's been a long time. It's felt like ages. People might discredit it saying it was against Salt Pappy. Get out of here. We don't care. El Kukui is back. And yeah, look, to people saying early stoppage, Tony was stalking him around the ring the whole time. Tony was stalking him around the ring. Tony was not tiring. Tony did not care about Salt Pappy's shots whatsoever. And to be fair, from what we were hearing, Salt Pappy's shots had much more of an impact than what Tony's did. But Tony was so much better at putting his shots together and mixing his work up, going to the body, going to the head. Tony was just relentless. And Tony was always able to take some, to give some, and that is what mattered. That is what happened. Salt Pappy was just throwing a lot of single shots, and Salt Pappy, yes, he was the quicker guy. He was probably the more powerful guy, but Tony's the more experienced guy. Tony was the relentless guy. Tony's got the chin. Tony's got the stamina, and there we go. It is Tony time, and Tony Ferguson is back in action. There we go. I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was entertaining. Salt Pappy did start well in the first round, coming out well behind the jab, decent lead hand feint. Tony was coming forward, taking a good few shots on the gloves, though. I thought Tony's defense was pretty underrated in that fight. At times, he was getting hit. I mean, it's boxing, you're going to get hit, but he didn't really care whatsoever about what Salt Pappy was bringing to him at all. I mean, if he's taking shots in those small MMA gloves, of course, he's able to take shots in these 10-ounce gloves and be completely fine against someone who isn't a proper professional fighter. That's what a professional fighter can do right there. And yeah, Tony at 41. We thought it was all done. But no, that second round, I knew he was going to win. I knew he was going to win after what we saw him do in that second round. You saw the pundits and that giving Salt Pappy that second round. But he didn't win the second round. Tony definitely won it. Tony had a real good body breakdown in that second round. Tony he mixed up his shot from body to head. He'd go to the body. He was nice in and out as well, to be honest, Tony. And I think the first round, it was like, he was trying to figure out that southpaw advantage that Salt Pappy, of course, had. But I think a big thing with Tony is that lead hand of his is actually stronger than his backhand, and that's been the thing with Tony throughout his whole MMA career. His left hand's always been stronger than than his right hand. That's why Tony's always able to switch about quite a bit overall, and that's what I thought. The lead hand, I thought the jab of Tony was very strong, and always is snapping the head back of Salt Pappy a lot. And the odd time he'd go to the body, some decent hooks going, then he'd follow up with a decent good left lead hook around upstairs, and it was able to get to Salt Pappy. It was just the way Tony was putting his combos together. I thought he looked good, much better technically than I thought he would. I thought Tony would make it more messy, but no, I thought Tony was able to keep his shots nice and tight, and was much better than what Salt Pappy was much better than him, was really letting his shots flow nicely. And I feel like was able to measure the distance quite well and be able to find the distance quite well. It took him a bit took him a bit of time in that first round to try and figure it out. He was coming forward more, landing, but then taking some. But again, he did not care. He did not care at all. But yeah, I'm over the moon that Tony was able to get the win. I'm over the moon that he was able to do it. Yeah, one of the moments of the year, to be honest with you, combat sports wise, without a shadow of a doubt. Boxing fans are happy, MMA fans are happy. There we go, fantastic stuff. And I don't care. People say it was an early stoppage. Tony was getting to him. Tony was breaking him down. Tony was wearing him out. You know, he was, and I honestly feel like Tony would have won decision anyway, or he would have eventually got the stoppage. I mean, it was coming. He was catching Salt Pappy flush. You know, Salt Pappy wasn't catching loads of them on the gloves. So, you know, Tony was snapping his head back against the ropes. Yes, possibly the ref could have let it go on a little bit longer, but Tony had his man where he wanted him. Ferguson had his man where he wanted him, and El Kukui was able to get the win there. So, you know, to people saying early stoppage, I see the point, but I've seen comments saying, oh, that's one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen in boxing. It's not. It's not. Tony had his man where he wanted him. You know, he was getting to him, and at this kind of level as well, it makes sense that the fight was stopped. It makes sense that the fight was stopped, especially at this kind of level as well. But yeah, I get the odd bit of complaints, but it was coming anyway, and Tony was only just getting started. I feel like there was more to come from Tony there as well. He's just getting started, getting his further on offense going. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, thank you for watching. El Kukui's back. Speak to you on the next one.